Hello.
Hi, Priscilla.
Nice
Good.
seeing you. Yeah,
Likewise,
so
we're going to be on your show.
excellent. So this is Priscilla from Speakers Connect. Today, we're very happy to have branding and marketing expert Jerome Joseph with us. Jerome has worked with over 1,000 brands in 34 countries, and he is the author of 8 best-selling books on branding. He is also ranked number 2 as global guru in branding. So today we are super excited to have Jerome with us.
Thank you, Priscilla. It's really an honor to be here. I'm so excited to talk to you about personal branding. So let's get going.
Yeah, indeed. So when we prepare for this chat, we are considering what topic to talk about. And you mentioned that this is a very important time for us to have a personal brand.
Yes.
So may I know, to start with, who needs to consider having their personal brand?
So this is a really good question, Priscilla, because when sometimes, the first thing is when I use the word personal brand, many people get a little bit traumatized. Personal brand, I'm not a product. I am not Cadbury. I'm not Nike. So one of the things that I tell people is this, right? The day you were born, you are a brand. You are brand me, right? Brand you. And as a brand, right, what you say, what you do, all your actions determine what people think or feel about you. So personal branding is crucial in today's marketplace. And there are few people that really, really need to work on really building their world-class brand in the marketplace. So I'm going to tell you 5 types of people that I typically work with, that typically come to me, or typically spend a lot of time on personal branding. Number 1, you have the entrepreneur, the person that owns the business or is self-employed. Those people need personal branding like nobody's business. They need to stand out in the marketplace. Number 2 is who I call the star. So this is someone who has performed and who's done something well in their career, and they want to use personal branding to stand out. So it could be, for example, a professional athlete, for example, or someone that's a high performer in an organization, and they want to use personal branding to stand out in the organization and stand out in their community. The third group is the expert, and that's someone who's potentially a thought leader, or someone who has discovered something or has written something. And a lot of speakers and authors would fall into this category, and they want to position themselves in the marketplace as an expert. The fourth group is the leader. So I do a lot of programs with leaders inside organization. So it's a leader that, number 1, they want to let people know who they are as a leader and what their values are as a leader, and how they drive their brand inside the organization. And finally, the seeker. The seeker is really the job seeker. So when you get out of school and you're fresh, you're looking for a job, you are the seeker. You need a strong personal brand to stand out in the clutter of people looking for jobs.
The earlier we start, the better.
Exactly. Oh, I mean, I have a daughter now, as you know, and I'm ready. She's got her own Facebook page. I'm really building a brand right now.
I'll like her after this section.
Yeah.
So so 5 types of people particularly would need to consider building their personal brand.
Yes.
I know that you have developed a system and you call it the 5D personal branding framework.
Yes.
Yeah, so can you tell us more about that? What 5D that you are having in mind?
Brilliant. So for me, as I wear the hat of a consultant. I have the wear the professional speaker. So every time I go in and talk to organizations or consult with organizations and individuals, I always believe it needs to be driven by a clear, thought-out framework. And this framework is our 5D framework. The 5 Ds stand for discover, define, develop, deliver, and drive. I'm going to give you a short description for each. Discover is at the start of any personal brand process. It's really to discover what makes your brand unique to your audience, what makes your brand unique to your target marketplaces. So discover stage, we have a whole bunch of research tools that we teach people how to use to discover their brand. The second stage is what I call the define stage. So here is where you define effectively who are you specifically talking to. You define your markets, you define your goals, you define your audiences and how to engage with them. The third stage is the develop stage, and it's really the heart of your personal branding, which is your strategy. It's where you develop your unique value proposition. It's where you develop your unique message in the marketplace. It's where you develop your key strategies to help you stand out. And then you have the deliver stage. And the deliver stage, this is where you create assets that help you deliver your brand across key touch points. And finally, you have drive. And what drive means is, how do we continue to drive your brand? And in this stage, you spend a lot of time building your full entire brand plan, your content marketing strategy. How do you build your brand offline, online? And how do you continuously drive this to your markets and your target audiences? So it's a powerful 5D framework. I've not done it justice in trying to summarize it in this short period of time, but it's a powerful framework to help individuals stand out in the marketplace.
Yes, wow. So thank you very much for the very concise summary on that. I think that if we want to build our personal brand, definitely there are a lot of things that we can do or we should do. I also know that one of your book actually is called the 30 Principles to Grow Your Personal Brand. Won't you mind maybe share 2 or 3 tips if we are considering to now, oh, I would like to build up my personal brand. How should we start, or anything that can help us to jumpstart the process?
Sure. You know, there's so much things you could do, and you're right. I mean, I could go on talking for an entire day. And sometimes when I'm asked a question like this, I go, what tip do I give them when there's so many to pick from? But let me give you one that I tell, you know, individuals that I coach or when I run a keynote. The first thing is this. Under the Discover principle, it is very important for you to talk to people that you interact with or that you choose to interact with. So for example, if you're an entrepreneur, it is very important that you have conversations with your target audiences so that they are able to tell you what they want, what they need. And as such, you are able to strategize your brand accordingly to them. So many people, when they're building a personal brand, don't have conversations, don't look at their marketplace, they don't spend time really deep diving. Tip number 1, discover your brand. Spend a lot of time in the research process by talking to key stakeholders. Tip number 1. Let's talk about tip number 2. So tip number 2 is this. I tell people that you need to have focus. So let me give you an example of a story of someone that came up to me. This guy came up to me and he gave me his name card. And on his name card in the front, he had his name. And when I turned it behind, I got a little bit confused because on the back of the card, he had the word real estate agent, financial planner, consultant, and 1 or 2 other things that he did. So he put all his activities at the back of the card and he gave up to me. He goes, hey, if you want to buy a home, if you need financial advice, you need a business consultant, I'm your guy. I looked at the card and straight away, right, the first thing that comes to mind is this guy is a jack of all trades and a master of none. So one of the things that I tell people when it comes to personal branding is please pick a lane. Please have focus. You cannot be everything. And if you choose to be everything, be prepared that you become, you know, jack of all trades, and people may not come to you because they're worried that you are not a specialist.
Yes.
So have focus, right? Really narrow down and have focus. And when you have that focus, it is so important that you then work on really building a brand. You can go deep into that focus, but have that focus. So that's tip number 2. The third tip is something which I've been telling a lot of people, is the importance of really differentiating yourself in the marketplace. Many a times, people that I talk to, individuals I talk to, they do this, they try to copy other people, right? Hey, he did this, let me copy him and let me be him. Please don't do that. Your brand is your brand, right? So you got to be authentic, you got to be who you are. And to differentiate yourself in a crowded marketplace, then you need to find things that no one else is doing and show the world that you can do it better. I always tell people, when everyone's going right, go left. When everyone's shouting A, shout B. And that's when you can stand out and differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Now in my book, I give people 88 ways that they can differentiate yourself. It's called the Brand Playbook. And please pick up the book, read it, because it would tell you that many, many ways that you can differentiate yourself in the marketplace. But it's important, right? You can be inspired by other brands, but you have to be your own brand.
Definitely, definitely. Wow, and you have been so generous for sharing the 3 tips to do the research, be yourself and be focused, right? I can't agree with you more when I sometimes also receive name cards with a list of things that, yeah, they would like to highlight, and sometimes it's a little bit confusing actually.
It is. You know, it's a big problem that you see in the marketplace, and I understand. I mean, especially now in this given situation, right? Everyone's like, as long as I can make money, I'll do it. And one, you know, and maybe just for your viewers, right? I'm going to give you one extra tip that I've been telling a lot of organizations. This is a time where your personal brand, you have to adapt and you have to evolve. So while we're talking about all these tips, in a situation like COVID, a crucial personal branding tip is this. As you're building your brand, and as you're looking at what's happening with your current offerings, start to think about what you can do to adapt and evolve to the changing marketplace, to the new norm. I'll give you a simple example of one of the, you know, of the speaking marketplace. So the speaking marketplace, I'm a speaker, we can't go in and we can't speak at events face to face. But, you know, and Priscilla, we had this conversation, I had to evolve. I had to adapt my game in this changing marketplace. So a big part of your strategy today as a personal brand is not only how can I stand out, how can I differentiate myself, but how do I adapt and evolve to a changing marketplace?
Yes, and talking about COVID, I know that you also have your presentations and coaching on how we can stand out on the social media as well. So maybe you can let us know a little bit about that area.
You know, I've never had so much demand for my online programs. I have a program called Digital Branding, and it's focused into a range of programs. So we do specialize like branded prospecting on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and of course we do across the platforms, right? An entire digital branding program. I've never had so much demand before, Priscilla. You know why?
Which industries that are constantly asking you about those?
Of course, I get the big ones of the real estate, financial planners all the time. I get phone calls on a daily basis, but it's a lot of industries are coming and having conversations. I mean, because let's face it, right? Many salespeople, many people are essentially locked down at home, which means that today they now need to go out there and reach customers in new and different ways. So the demand has been increasing for me because companies and individuals have come up to me and says, help me, because I understand now that Facebook is not about just putting on a post. It's a complete end-to-end strategy. I understand LinkedIn is not about just having a nice profile picture. There is an entire strategy around it. I know that I need to start looking at all my hyper-connected ecosystem of potential customers. And how do I build my brand across this ecosystem? And people have started to realize it's a lot more than that, because I'm sure you have seen an increase of activity in your social media pages, because everyone's online now. Everyone's doing live. Everyone's putting up posts. And with these changes in the marketplace, Priscilla, I truly believe it is so important that if you want to raise your game, you got to understand 2 things. Number 1, you got to understand the strategy of building your brand online. And before you even go out there, and I call it the scattergun approach, right? They take the scattergun, boom, they shoot and hoping something hits. And if something hits, they go, yay, social media works. Stop. Focus on having a clear brand strategy for your online activities, because you can't do everything. You need to be very specific. Then when you have the strategy in place, then you move into execution. And when you go into execution now, you realize that because I'm so strategic, I have a consistent message across my entire digital platform. I'm focused on platforms where my target audience is currently located. I'm doing things to pull customers to me rather than me going after them. They are coming to me. And that's the power of building an online brand.
Wow, yes, we personally, we also need the digital transformation, not just for corporations. And thank you so much for all the tips today. Yeah, you have been super helpful and generous. So we talk about personal branding, we talk about digital personal branding, and you also would have consultancy and also training and workshops for corporations as well.
Sure. So we have the model where it starts with the keynote. And that's the big thing. And from a keynote, if you want to deep dive a little bit more, we move into really powerful impact workshops. And of course, it's the virtual world. We do it virtually or in person if it's allowed. And of course, if you want more help, if you need more, we move into a consulting and coaching model. So that's the end-to-end experience that you have working with Jerome Joseph and his team.
So the audience of this video, if you're interested to know more about Jerome's offering, you can contact us or Jerome directly. So there are so many topics under the umbrella of branding that he is an expert on it. So today, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. And I hope to see you very soon again.
I'm very excited for what the new norm looks forward to, and I'm looking forward to really a new world that's ahead of us.
Yes.
And a last message to all of your viewers. Today, what you do today impacts what you do tomorrow. So take action today.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Priscilla.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.